Angie Martinez. I can totally say it was all her. I remember reading a magazine article about her and Wendy Wild. And I was like, oh, I want to do that. Like, oh my gosh. I was like 14 years old. I cut out all the pictures. I had Angie Martinez on my binder in middle school, and people would always be like, who's that? Why do you have a girl on your binder? I'd be like, that's Angie Martinez, Hot 97. Okay. Learn about it in New York. Like that was who I aspired to be like. And then the radio stations in Denver, I used to listen to KS 107.5 all the time. And I would bug the DJs all the time. I would call and make requests. I used to always go to like club events and just kind of be like, show me what you do. And looking back at it, I was like, damn, I probably look like a groupie, but in reality, I just wanted to do what they were doing. And Slim and I really started to become friends when I was done with high school, sorry. And I had started college and I had started doing the college radio stuff. And I remember sending him air checks and him giving me great feedback, like, oh, this is a great break. However, change this, do this, whatever. And him and I ended up becoming friends to the point that when I wanted an internship, he recommended me to the boss at the time. Now, that's a whole other can of worms because the boss literally sat me down, interviewed me, and told me, yeah, you don't got it, girl. Like, sorry.
Really?
Still
in college? Like when?
I was still in college, looking to get an internship, something for the summer. Who wouldn't want to be on the biggest station in their hometown? Hearing that from the program director really punched me in my gut, but it also motivated me like, oh, I don't have it, huh? Okay, watch me work. And so I had reached out to another station in town and jumped on as a promotional intern. However, I sent some of my air checks and they were like, dang girl, like, okay, let's put her on weekends. We could put you on weekends and, you can do stuff for promotional events and do call-ins and say, hey, it's Krystal from the street team. Join me, blah, 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 blah. Like they actually gave me the opportunity to be on air in a major market as an intern. It really helped solidify that I was on the right track. Getting the opportunity to do it, getting great feedback. I mean, obviously I paid my dues. I had to dress up as a monkey in the summertime. And
was that their mascot?
Yeah, that was their mascot. And so I think it was like the funky monkey or something. I don't remember, but I used to have a lot of fun with that because I'm like, nobody can see me. I can literally get away with as like dehumanizing as this is. I'm going to make the most out of it and have some fun with it. So I would like steal people's beers and like run off with it as the funky monkey. Like I enjoyed the time, the learning the ropes or, the initiation phase. I made the most out of it because I knew this is what I wanted to do. I just networked my butt off. I mean, we didn't have really, I think we had Facebook when it was just, you could log in with a college email address and MySpace. I was emailing program directors, Carly Hustle in Phoenix. I was emailing her, Alex Quintero. I was emailing him in Texas, and Carly gave good feedback. Alex gave great feedback. He would always say, if you don't find anything when you graduate, let me know. And then it even got to the point where he's like, do you want to do some voice work for my station? And I just continued to put my name out there. And he had told me, hey, I mentioned your name for a morning show in Tucson, Arizona. Are you interested? And, I'm 22, about to graduate college. I was like, yes, And so I remember getting a call one day and I'm like, hello. And he's like, is this the Star? And I was like, you're damn right. It's the Star. Like, I don't know what to say. And from that conversation on, that got me a morning show job. I had graduated college, was working at a rock station, Kilo, and I was working on getting this job. And so I had worked at Kilo for like 6 months to a morning show gig in Tucson, Arizona. That gig, without, spilling all the details, really taught me that in this industry, you have to have thick skin. And if you don't have thick skin, and if you don't stand up for yourself, you should probably find another industry because so many people in this industry are looking to take advantage. I remember there would be times where I would leave the morning show and go, do I really want to do this? Like, oh my gosh, like what just happened to me was, and I remember calling my mom and like venting to her that It wasn't a great experience. Yes, I got to be on the radio. Yes, I got to meet celebrities and interview celebrities because it was a morning show, but I didn't feel good about myself. I didn't feel good about how I was talked to or treated. And I really questioned whether or not I wanted to be in this business anymore. I kept thinking, God has me here for a reason. Like, things are going to work out the way that they're supposed to work out. I ended up being laid off because the program director at the time took another job in California and a new one came in and pretty much wanted his whole team on. So he laid everybody off, myself included. And I mean, I was devastated. I left Colorado. I left a great job to come here. What am I going to do now? I will say this because I don't want to put everything on the company or the host that I was working with, or even the PD. My work ethic was not great at that time. It wasn't. I was 23 years old, doing a morning show, still going out and partying, like just kind of not responsible about it, just sort of taking that opportunity for granted, not really putting my best foot forward because it was like, I'm living the dream. You know what I mean? Obviously, if I could go back now and talk to my 23-year-old self, I would literally shake myself and say, this is an opportunity not everybody gets. Get your shit together, like now. And so from there, after losing my job, I went to work at Clear Channel at the time in Denver, and I was a promo assistant. Similar thing happened with my internship. They had no idea about my resume, that I had been on air, that I had, morning show experience. And I remember giving the VP of programming my air check, and he's like, "This is you?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's me." And he's like, "Do you want to be like our fill-in swing DJ? Whenever we need someone, we'll put you on." And I was like, "Absolutely." And then I got a consistent weekend shift. And I probably could have had that job forever, but I got impatient that I wasn't moving up faster, that I wasn't getting these full-time jobs off the air, even that other people were getting. And I started looking other places. So my boyfriend at the time, who obviously father of my child, wanted to move back to Tucson, where I was from. And so I looked for a job here and found a part-time job on air in Tucson, making $8 an hour, came here with a new baby, with my boyfriend, and that lasted 5 months. Circumstances ended up not at the station. The station was great. The people were great. The pay was terrible, but the people were great. Had a tumultuous personal experience there, and eventually said, I can't do this. I have a college degree and I'm making $8 an hour. Like, I would rather manage a Taco Bell than continue to do what I'm doing. I had reached out to a good friend of mine and said, "Hey, I'm coming back to Colorado." And he threw my name out there for a middays position at a station for a smaller company in Denver. I was making $2 more an hour for that position. And I actually moved from middays in that job to eventually doing mornings in that job. Got pregnant with my second child a couple years later and was laid off at 4 months pregnant. And I just remember again being like, why do I continue to put myself through this? Like, why do I continue to give so much and then just have the rug pulled out from under me? After that happened, I'm like, no one's going to hire me. I'm freaking large Marge here. I'm going to go into an interview with this baby in my belly. And that couldn't be further from the truth. I landed another gig in radio in Denver. And I remember at the end of the interview, just to be transparent with you, I'm 6 months pregnant right now. And he goes, "You are?" I was like, "I am." And he goes, "Girl, that don't matter unless the baby's going to try to take the mic from you." He's like, "That does not matter at all." And I was like, oh my gosh, wow, okay. Worked that job actually for a couple years until I found Westwood One. And Westwood One really changed my radio experience because for the first time in almost 10 years, I was offered a living wage. Yeah. And I loved that job. And that job, I would have stayed there too. But again, my husband, he had a desire to come back to Arizona. And I said, if I can find something comparable, then I'll do it. And I did. I found a job out here that not only offered me radio, but television opportunity. And that was a great experience until the company was sold. And then, from the moment it was sold until, even recently when I was laid off, it was not a great experience. And again, I have a great relationship with God. So I kept telling myself, what is God trying to teach me? Like, what am I supposed to learn through this crazy experience? And I genuinely feel like it was always stand up for yourself in the worst of situations, in the best of situations, when it's like the honeymoon phase. Don't ever get too comfortable where you stop standing up for yourself. I have learned, and I hope other women and men too, learn that this industry does not define you. You are not the morning show. You are not the assistant program director. You are you, and you are valuable, and you provide something to that company that they can't get anywhere else because you are you. And so don't ever feel like if you lose your job or you're being treated a certain way that that defines who you are as a person. It doesn't. For me, stepping back and looking at that and saying, you know what? I have 3 daughters and they need to be fed and they need a roof over their head. And sometimes radio can't provide that for me. And that's okay. I'm willing to do other things in order to make sure my family is taken care of, to make sure I'm taken care of. As much as I love this industry, sometimes it hasn't loved me back. That station did not define me. My position with that station did not define me. I'm good at a lot of different things. I value the degree that I have. I value what I learned in radio. But I think a lot of people in radio immediately associate themselves with this industry that they're like, I can't do anything else. Actually, you can. You have been managing a brand yourself for a very long time. Let's not forget that. The station doesn't manage your brand. They may promote your brand. They don't manage it though. You do. So you have those skills to do that for someone else or another company. And so for me, I thought, I'm going to go back to what my degree is. My degree is in public relations and broadcasting. And so I found a job working for a marketing firm that specialized in lawyers and small law firms. Amazing job, completely different industry, totally saw how relaxed radio is compared to this industry. And so I learned a lot from that and thought I may never get back in radio again. Like, oh my gosh, for several different reasons. One of them being it's becoming this elite profession that doesn't pay elite wages. And I'm just not willing to settle for that anymore. I'm not willing to make crap wages just so I can be like, listen to my morning show. That is not valid for me anymore. And I know for some people it is, and that's great. Mm-hmm. I would never, ever tell you to lower your standards. I will tell you, however, to manage your expectations. Because for me, I feel like going for some of the jobs or being offered some of the jobs that I was offered while I was on the beach. Yes, I would have loved to have had that gig, but I was not willing to give my heart and soul for minimum wage. I wasn't. I know the type of personality I am. I know my work ethic, obviously much different from when I was 23 years old. I've learned a lot about myself. I learned that you get what you put out. And so for me, it was like, I'm not going to lower my standards just to stay in this industry, but I will manage my expectations. That's not something I'm willing to do, but this is something I'm willing to do. I don't know why more radio people aren't going off on their own. Why? You have no constraints. There is not a company telling you you can't say that, you can't go after that advertiser, you can't talk to those people. And I really found freedom in that, doing my own show with Candidly Krystal. More just recently though, I left the legal marketing firm and started a marketing manager job here in Tucson, and I've loved it. And then radio came creeping back, and I thought to myself, am I ready to get back on air? Am I ready to give myself again? And I don't think I would have said yes if it would have been with a different boss, a program director who came right out and was like, let's not waste each other's time. This is what this job is. This is what it provides. This is what I ask from you. Do you want it? And I was like, yes, I do. Like, yes, I actually do. When you put it like that and you're straightforward with me, absolutely. Because this time that I was on the beach, I had so much ping ponging from program directors like, oh, well, we like this about you and this, and we'll get back to you. And then they got back to me and things changed, and then we'll get back to you again. And then I felt like I was chasing program directors like, hey, haven't heard from you in a couple weeks. Mm-hmm. Whereas this program director put everything on the table right at the bat. Like, this is what it is. This is what you'll get. Are you interested? And it was like, yeah. yeah, I am like, okay, I can do this, because I feel like it's still letting me fulfill what I love to do, which is talk to people. I didn't lower my standards, but I managed my expectations. I can make a living wage with this job. Awesome. I'm going to do that. And I can still fulfill what I want to fulfill when it comes to radio with this job. And I earn money too. And like I always tell my husband, when it comes to doing radio stuff, I'm like, it's easy money.
Yep.
It's easy money. Radio to me is amazing and I love it, but it doesn't challenge me like it used to. And I don't want it, it's going to sound really probably very conceited and I probably sound cocky, but I'm good at it. I know I'm good at it because I'm good at talking to people and I'm good at being personable with people. And so it's not hard for me to be that, because you're going to get that from me, whether I'm on the radio or not. So I could never be on radio another day in my life, and I'm still going to be comfortable talking to 5 or 5,000 people. Millennials get this bad rap for whatever reason. I'm a millennial. You're a millennial. Yeah. And I'm like, millennials make up 75% of the workforce. Why do we have such this bad rap? And why are we not seeing more millennials at the top in management positions, in C-suite positions, running things? Because we are one of the last generations who didn't have internet, right? Had that real life experience, got dirty, skinned our knees, and also transitioned through the internet and the digital age. Why are more millennials not at the top, at least giving their perspective, at least having a seat at the table?
That is such a great point. They need us.
and I have to be honest, women, why are more women not at the top? If your station is targeting women, why do you not have a woman in management? And I'm not talking about your promotions or your marketing director. I'm talking about, at bare minimum, an APD, somebody who has a seat at the table, who can bring a voice to the conversation. And I should even be more specific. Why are we not having more women of color, whether it's African-American women, whether it's Indigenous women? And I say this as a woman who is mixed. I am Spanish and I am white. And the fact that we continue to push these women like we don't value what they say, or they have nothing good to say, it infuriates me, because I know so many amazing women who have so much value to bring, and for whatever reason are looked past. It's frustrating. And again, like I said, I will make damn sure that women are treated with respect in this industry. Women of color are treated with respect in this industry, and mothers are treated with respect in this industry, because what my gender is, the color of my skin, does not define who I am as a talent. If that's the impact that I have, then I have lived good, and eulogize me well when I die, everybody. And a lot of us have been shamed to the point where it's like, don't speak up. Don't speak up because you'll be blacklisted. And I, again, this is where I step in and say, radio doesn't define me. Blacklist me.
Sure.
Blacklist me. Literally, I'll just do something on Twitch, or I'll find a marketing job. And I am not below being a server again. Like, I will still make money whether you like it or not. I just may not be making it in radio, but you'll know. You cannot talk to women how you talk to them. You cannot sexually harass women how you sexually harass them, at least not on my watch.
Yep.
Because I am that chick that will be that squeaky wheel, because I have been taught from the beginning by my brothers, like, hey man, if they give you that, like, throw it back at them. Like,
yep. And I love the people like you that have kind of come to that conclusion, like you're in that spot right now where you're not needing to chase the stuff and, be careful with what you say and everything, because it helps what I'm doing too, because that's, I kind of had to get to that same place too, that like, you know what, I'm going to go do this over here. Fuck it. And I like to uplift those voices, because if it can take one person that just watches this video or something, and some girl is like, wow, and gets empowered by something that we said, like, that's great, and I love just kind of like, we're creating our own thing over here, and I'm inserting myself in the industry and I'm bringing the voices and letting them talk. You know what I mean? The great thing is that we can get on and we have the ability to even put this content like this out for people. But it's just, it gets me even more excited to talk with people that are excited about making those changes and being like, fuck it, I'll say it.
If you are currently working at a job where you are not respected and you are not valued and you are talked down to, and you are disrespected, you are sexually harassed, I am telling you right now, it is okay to walk away from that. I promise it is not the end of the world. No matter what you're thinking, oh my gosh, I don't want to lose this job. I love this radio job so much. You will find that. You will find a radio job that better serves you. And if you don't find a radio job, do that shit on your own, girl or guy, do it. Twitch, YouTube, Facebook. There are so many platforms out there where you can really take control of you and your show and not have to tolerate being demeaned or talked down to or sexually harassed. I mean, I still cringe when I see people in this industry doing things that were acceptable in the 80s and the 90s and still thinking it's so cool and so funny. I'm literally like, yeah, you are so dumb. It's like, do better. I think a turning point for me when I had complained about working hours I wasn't getting paid for, and the company said, well, we can give you food coupons in lieu of those out, to compensate you for those hours. I literally was like, wow, do you think I could submit that to my mortgage company and be like, hey, do you want a Subway sandwich instead of my mortgage this month? Like, that to me was a moment where I said, I'm not being valued. I'm not being respected to even have the audacity to say that to me. Like, that is something I would take you up on, is gross to me. You know what I mean? And I know more people have done it. And I say it all the time. Stop working for free. Stop it now. Like, you are not helping this industry. You're not even helping yourself at the bare minimum. Stop it. These companies have money. We see that they have money. It's not our bad that they don't know how to prioritize it or manage their money. That has nothing to do with you. So by you doing extra hours for free, by you working extra for food coupons, you are not helping anybody in this industry. As a matter of fact, you are setting us back. Stop it.
You working for free at this point, you might as well just be doing it for yourself. Working for free now in this industry makes zero sense for because all that work could be going into your own brand to make your own money. Why would you ever waste it on someone else?
100%. And I learned the hard way, you cannot be loyal to a company. And this isn't, and companies listening are probably like, oh, how dare you? I don't mean you shouldn't do a good job for your company. I don't mean that. I mean, yes, show up every day, bust your ass, do what you're supposed to do. But there was a time in my career where I was working and I got a different opportunity presented to me. And I was like, I don't want to leave this company. I don't want to leave them high and dry. I don't want to, oh man, they would be lost if I left them. They would be so screwed if I left them. My boss would be, and I remember being so committed to staying with this brand. My boss left 3 months later. And I was like, I should have just taken that offer. Like, that was a moment in my almost 20-year career where I was like, wow, I was so committed and so loyal that now I'm kicking myself because I should have done what was best for me from the beginning. I don't want to say don't keep your company in mind. And I also don't want to say to not be a professional. We should all be professionals in this industry, even though we're, the gray area in radio and ha. We should always be professional. But at the same time, put yourself first today, tomorrow, 10 years from now. Put your interests first, because in the end, that's who's going to be there for you at the end. That company that just laid you off and replaced you a week later, they don't care. You care about yourself. No one else will love you how you love yourself. So stop being loyal to a company who, like I said, will replace you probably in a couple days, if not a week or two. And that's a hard lesson to learn, because we all want to be committed to this brand and this station. But in reality, they're not committed to us. And they've shown us over and over and over that we're not committed to the talent. We'll do what's best for the company. And I'm sorry, that means you're going to lose your job, but that's just what we do,
Yep, exactly. And then when they do bring someone back in, they're going to bring that one in for $10K less than they were paying the person before, even though everything else is inflating. Nope. Your salary is just going to keep getting cut.
Yeah. I mean, that in itself is infuriating. It doesn't benefit us being quiet about our salaries. It benefits the company when we don't talk about it. And that's the only person it benefits. And obviously, you're not going to go to everybody be like, I make $25,000 a year. And I honestly think a lot of the reason why we're quiet about it is we're ashamed.
Yeah.
Like, we're like, oh my gosh, I can't
that.
believe I accepted that. Like, oh, like when I think back to accepting an $8 an hour job, I'm like, are you out of your mind, Krystal? Like, wow, I'm shamed by it, but I'm also so transparent that I'm going to talk about it. That was a point in my life where I was willing to lessen my value and my worth just to stay in the game. I won't do that anymore. And I know there's times where companies literally can't budge on what they're going to pay. That's fine. But if it's below what both of us are asking, then you're going to have to go find someone else who's willing to do that. Because as I've said so many times, good talent isn't cheap and cheap talent isn't good. So if you can't meet this mark, just know that you're probably not going to find anybody on this caliber, whether it's on-air experience or marketing experience. You're not going to get this level of experience or personality, if you will.
And commitment. Sometimes it's even like they don't want to pay a living wage for somebody to work a full-time gig and post on social media and everything. This person has to go work another second job. So they're burnt out by that time. So you're not getting the best talent because the talent has to be stretched so thin in order just to make it work.
It's frustrating. I mean, I literally, when I asked for more money at a job to go from APD MD to program director, well, we just thought that you would be happy we offered you the job. Did you? Did you think that I would be willing to make less money working more hours just because I have the stripes? Because couldn't be further from the truth. And the idea that people still think like that and that it is still said, well, you should just be lucky to have a job in radio. Really?
Right.
Is that what you think? Because what I do on my radio show, I can do somewhere else now and don't need a company backing me up. So get this idea, this perception out of your head, management, PDs, that we should just feel lucky to have this job. Yes, I feel so lucky making poverty wages. Woo, feel so good. I feel blessed to do what I love every single day. But at the same time, blessings and good intentions are not paying my bills. My dad said this to me, and it has stuck with me forever. I remember complaining about making this salary that I was making. And my dad goes, that's what you're worth. And I go, excuse you. And he goes, Krystal, you accepted it. That's what you're telling that company you're worth. If you're not worth that, why did you accept it? Stop accepting things that do not portray your worth. And from now on, when I negotiate my salary, from that point on, that is in my head. So when I am negotiating and talking about what a company is going to pay me and they lowball me, in my head, I'm going, if I accept that, I'm telling them I'm worth that shit pay. If I stand up for myself and say, yeah, no, I can't do that, they're going to know that, well, she's worth more than that. And she clearly knows she's worth more than that. So we can't pay her less because she knows her value. And so for me, it's about knowing your value and literally sticking to it. Yes. You can know your value and go into, a negotiation and say, well, I'm worth XYZ, but you're offering me A, B, and C. I know that's not my worth. Yeah, no. And maybe we can meet in the middle, but I can't bring myself all the way down because I know my value. Losing your job sucks.
Yes.
No matter how it happens, when it happens. Anytime you lose a job, you immediately go into this dark hole. Yeah. Like, even though I didn't get it and I'm sad and it was, a top 5 market or a top 10 market or whatever it is, I'm sad about it, but it was never my job to begin with. And that's okay. Let's just keep moving, keep pushing forward. Something else will come along that better suits me and better fits into what my journey is supposed to be.
Wanted to talk a little about the Candidly Krystal.
I have always wanted to do my own talk show. It started as a kid. I used to do a show in the mirror at like 7 years old called The Debbie Show. I don't know why Debbie. My name is Krystal. Imagine that I was interviewing Luke Perry and, all these different celebrities. New Kids on the Block were on my show. And I've always wanted to do that. Krystal Stark is my co-host, which she was on American Idol. She is so freaking talented. I want to ask her to do this with me. She may say, girl, you're crazy. I'm sorry. I am up here. I am a performer. I am an entertainer. You're a radio DJ. I don't know. But she's like, this is what I have been looking for. I have been looking to do something like this. And her and I just hit the ground running. I mean, we really, really did. Her and I pairing up on this show was like a match made in heaven. We both work our asses off. Everything on that show that you saw on Candidly Krystal was us. We created the graphics. We put the videos together. We booked the guest. We did everything on it. Nobody else had a hand in it. And I don't know if I could have done it with anybody else but Krystal, because we both had a vision. The vision was to do a show like similar to Live with Kelly and Ryan, where, we chat, we bullshit. Obviously, you can't drink on television. We chose to add that in to where we could drink while we were doing it. But also, in the middle of a pandemic, we knew a lot of friends who were struggling, whether they were artists, clothing designers, singers, rappers. We had a woman who played the harp on there. We knew people in 2020 wanted to play music or wanted to show this new t-shirt that they made or whatever. And we wanted to give them that platform because we believe in them. And we believe that, all these bigger corporations get enough hype. We don't need to bring them on. We can bring these small mom and pop shops, or we can bring these amazingly talented, exquisite performers right to your tablet, your phone, your computer, whatever it is, and sort of give you a release during the pandemic. Because I don't know about you, 2020 was hard on me. I got COVID. I lost my job. It was, I had my kids here full time during school, and I was the worst substitute teacher ever. 2020 kicked my ass, and that show was like my bright light. Krystal Stark was like my bright light. She was someone I could vibe with. It was our baby. And really seeing it do well. And, obviously we took a break because, season 1, we're hoping to start season 2 in the fall, which might be harder because, I have a new job and I'm doing more things. She works on her own. She does her own cell phone stuff, but I'm hoping we can come back and bring back season 2 and again, not do the same thing because it's been working, but elevate it, take it to the next level. So that way you're still getting Candidly Krystal, but we've improved, we've changed, we've done different things. And Twitch has been awesome. I didn't even know about Twitch. I think Kyle King was the first one to tell me about it, and Chris Cruz were the first ones to tell me about Twitch, where I was like, damn, like that, it might be for gamers, but I'm seeing other stuff on it. Like I can do what they're doing, and really bringing it to live on that platform, as well as YouTube Live and Facebook Live. Why are you radio people not doing this? Even if you're doing just a branch of your on-air show or something entirely different, because again, radio doesn't define you. So maybe you like to paint, do a painting show. Maybe you like to mix, do a mixing show. Whatever it is, tap into your passions and put it out there for people to see, because I promise you, people will relate. People will be drawn to it. In a radio group that we're both a part of, I remember Chris Cruz saying, and this is before I really knew him saying, radio's just a vessel. That's all it is. It's going to take you to your next destination. It's going to drop you off at where you're supposed to be. And he always says, create content. If you are in the media, if you are in radio, constantly be creating content. And I always was like, yeah, okay, yeah, sure. Okay, sure. And then I started doing it. And then when I actually interviewed for a job that was in top 5 market, the person interviewing me was like, do you have content? We would love to see more content. I was like, I do. I had content to give to these program directors who liked my air check, but wanted more. We want more of your personality. We want to see more of how you interact with people. I had stuff to show them because I created it on my own. I didn't have a company backing me, forcing me to do it. You should never be forced to make content. It should all be because you want to, but it all benefited me in the end. In the end, I had stuff to show. This is what I do. Now, obviously I didn't get the job, but I got high remarks from this person saying, listen, we decided to go in a different direction but you are very talented. Please, please, please do not let you not getting this job sway you from applying at another top 5 station or from continuing to do what you're doing. You're talented. And I saw it for myself. And so for me, it was like, oh man, I didn't get the job, but I got high compliments to the point was like, I'm on the right track.
It is all that other stuff. So the fact that you could say, yep, I have that, it just puts you way above a lot of other of your peers. Cause there isn't, like I said, there aren't a lot of people that just say, oh yeah, I have that. And then especially when it's something you just created on your own.
I think what's holding a lot of people back is thinking they're going to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Fear will always hold you back from pursuing things that you love. You cannot let it. And it was fear that held me back for the longest time. So if you are someone who's like, I don't want to make a podcast, there's so many other podcasts out there. Yeah, but there's no other podcast with you on it. So believe in yourself. Believe in the content that you provide. If you have this quirk of, whatever, I don't know, Dungeons and Dragons, or you like Animal Crossing or something like that, talk about it. There are other people who love those things, who want somewhere to go and talk and vent. And you would be surprised how many people would be like, damn, this is my shit. I think we lost that connection that radio is supposed to have, the connection with the listeners who religiously sometimes will tune into your show and really vibe with you. Yep. We lost that connection in radio. That community, whether it's market 275 or it's market number 2, still deserves to be served, because that is the whole idea of why that radio station has a license. That's why they have a license, is to serve that community. Again, I keep saying, and I've said it probably so many times today, but if that is my contribution to this industry, is that women especially start putting their foot down and finally getting the fucking respect that we deserve, then I win. Then I win. Then I achieved what Angie Martinez achieved for me, because it's about damn time that we do. We're creative, we're funny, we're smart, we're empathetic. Again, I'm working for the women in this industry now, but I'm working for those 3 little girls that maybe one of them will be a radio DJ one day. And if she ever is and does happen to fall into this industry, she won't have to continue to fight the battles that I have fought, because women like myself have knocked that shit down and said, yeah, nah, we're not doing that anymore. Exactly. It's not. And people can see there's a radio group that we're all a part of where I am a loudmouth in it. Uh-huh. And I am very outspoken about certain things, and I will never stop, and I will never apologize for it. Now, obviously, I try to be loud about things and not ignorant. Right. I don't want to ever be ignorant about it. But if I feel like something is not okay, or I don't know, just outdated, old school in a bad way, then I'm going to say something.
I hope that a lot of change just comes from all this shit, and that in a few years, people like you, people like Chris Cruz, people like Dan Hardy, that those are people that are in management positions, and just, and are just doing it right for the next generation. Because if we don't, still young people still getting into it. I'm shocked at the ones that still follow me that are in college for radio. So it's like, we still want to nurture that passion, and,
Yeah, because God willing, radio will always be around. You can still buy a boombox at the store. Radio will always be around. Let's just get better people in those positions, people who are worthy and deserving and who deserve to have their voice elevated. Let's start putting more of those people at the forefront, as opposed to the people who literally should have been out of the game a long time ago.